Well, the Biden administration continues to make major moves on foreign policy, especially in the Middle East, that isn't getting a lot of attention, and it is definitely a complete reversal from the prior administration. Just in the kind of breaking this week is that President Biden plans to give $100 million, nearly $100 million, in foreign aid to Palestinians. Now, the Biden administration had announced last Thursday that they were going to give Palestinians $15 million. They made that announcement publicly. But then the next day, they notified Congress that there would be an additional $75 million allotted in aid to Palestinians. Now, that was not made as a public announcement. Also, interestingly, in the Middle East, I should say before I tell you this, I mean, the Trump administration had nearly cut all aid to Palestinians. But also interesting in the Middle East, remember we reported heavily on those agreements between Arab countries and Israel that was formulated in the waning months of the Trump administration. Well, the State Department is having some interesting terminology in talking about those accords, refusing to call them by their name, the Abraham Accords. Listen to this exchange between an AP reporter yesterday and State Department spokesman Ned Price. Listen.
Look, we call them normalization agreements. That's precisely what they are.
Why do you not use the name that the leaders of these countries signed on to, which is the Abraham Accords? Why is that?
I'm not averse to using that. I'm describing what these are. These are normalization.
Can you say it for me, please?
Of course, I can say the term Abraham Accords.
Thank you.
But we call them normalization.
There have been some concern amongst supporters of the agreements that the Biden administration could actually derail the accords. Now, in more shifts in the region, the Biden administration has also begun pulling out military capabilities and even military troops from the Gulf region. That includes aircraft carriers and surveillance measures. They pulled troops from Saudi Arabia, this as part of what they're calling their quote-unquote recalibration with the kingdom. And in breaking news today, Sean and Emma, it is now known that next week Iran and U.S. will join in talks with other member nations of the Iran nuclear deal in an effort to try to rejoin those two countries to the deal. The talks will be held Tuesday in Vienna. According to member nations, the goal is to get in two separate agreements, one with Iran, one with the U.S., to get those two nations back in quote-unquote compliance with the JCPOA.